So we in Nehemiah, the prophet, the 9th chapter, 13th verse. My boy that hung out with Ezra. It says, "Thou camest down also upon Mount Sinai, the Most High, and spake with them from heaven." Hear that? From heaven. But he came down on Mount Sinai and spoke to us from heaven, and gave them right judgments and true laws, good statutes and commandments. To us, we the 12 tribes of Israel, and made it known unto them thy holy Sabbath. Every 7 days is Sabbath, and the holy days are Sabbath, and commanded them precepts, statutes, and laws. You hear this? Precepts, statutes, and laws by the hand of Moses thy servant. Listen, it gave them bread from heaven for their hunger, taste like whatever we wanted it to taste like, and brought it forth water for them out of the rock for their thirst, and promised them that they should go in to possess the land which thou hast sworn to give them. These are the things that we're supposed to be talking about. You see, all the prophets talking about the Most High. But they, we the Israelites and our fathers, dealt proudly and hardened their necks and hearkened not to thy commandments, didn't listen to the Most High's commandments, and refused to obey, neither were mindful of thy wonders that thou didst among them, but hardened their necks, and in their rebellion appointed a captain to return to their bondage. But thou art Most High, ready to pardon. But thou art of power, ready to pardon, gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and forsooketh them not. All that we did. Nehemiah said, but thou art a power, ready to pardon, gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and forsooketh them not. Yea, when they had made them a molten calf, as we just read about, and said, this is thy power that brought thee up out of Egypt, and have wrought great provocations, yet thou in thy manifold mercies, meaning not getting something we deserve many times, forsooketh them not in the wilderness. The pillar of the cloud departed not from them by day. This is a chariot that Amashak was in, as the angel of the Most High, to lead them in the way. Neither the pillar of fire by night, to show them light in the way wherein they should go. Thou gavest also thy good spirit to instruct them, and withheldest not thy manna from their mouth, and gavest them water for their thirst. 40 years didst thou sustain them in the wilderness, so that they lacked nothing. 40 years. Most High sustained us in the wilderness, so we ain't lack anything. Their clothes waxed not old, and their feet swelled not. Moreover, thou gavest them kingdoms and nations, and didst divide them into corners. So they possessed the land of Sihon, and the land of the king of Heshbon, and the land of Og, king of Bashan. Their children also multiplied. Thou hast the stars of heaven, and brought them into the land concerning which thou hast promised to their fathers, that they should go in to possess it. So the children went in and possessed the land, and thou subdued before them the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites. That's what the Most High did. He subdued the Canaanites and gave them into their hands with their kings and the people of the land. that they might do with them as they would. And they took strong cities and a fat land, and possessed houses full of all goods, wells digged, vineyards, and olive yards, and fruit trees in abundance. So they did eat, and were filled, and became fat, and delighted themselves in thy great goodness. All the things the Most High did for us. Nevertheless, here we go, they were disobedient, and rebelled against thee, and cast thy law behind their backs, just like some of you doing right now, and slew thy prophets, which testified against them, to turn them to thee. And they wrought great provocations. Hear that? They killed the prophets. They came to tell them, like I'm telling you, to turn to the Most High. And stop believing that we don't have to follow his laws, his commandments. Therefore, thou delivered them into the hand of their enemies, who vexed them. That's captivity, slavery, and bondage. And in the time of their trouble, when they cried unto thee, this is a solution. When we cried unto the Most High, thou heardest them from heaven, and according to thy manifold mercies, thou gavest them a Savior, who saved them out of the hand of their enemies. But after they had rest, after we saved from our enemies, came out of captivity, they did evil again before thee. Therefore, lettest thou them in the hand of their enemies again, so that they had dominion over them. Yet when they returned, when we returned as Israelites and cried unto the Most High, cried unto thee, that's the Most High, who we talking about all day long, thou heardest them from heaven. And many times did thou deliver them according to thy mercies. He's full of mercies. And testify against them, that thou mightest bring them again unto thy law. Testify against us, we the Israelites, that thou mightest bring them again unto thy law, unto the Most High's law. Yet they dealt proudly, and hearkened not unto thy commandments, but sinned against thy judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. And withdrew the shoulder, I ain't got to do that, and hardened their neck, and would not hear. And would not hear. That's why you look at Hosea 4 and 6. Hosea 4 and 6. Why we destroyed? For a lack of knowledge. It tells you. Hosea, the 4th chapter, the 6th verse. It said, my people, who are the 12 tribes of Israel, are destroyed. For what? For lack of knowledge. Because they have rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. You don't want this knowledge of this word? He said, you're going to be a bunch of rejects. That thou shalt be no priest to me. That's why I talk about you preachers. Y'all not qualified to really bring forth the word of the Most High if you ain't telling the truth about who this Bible is talking about. And that's the Israelites. 12 tribes of Israel. That thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law. Hear that? Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, of your power. You say you believe in the Most High, you call him God. But you have forgotten the law of your power. You say, I will also forget thy children. You say, we'll forget our children. That's why you're part of the children of those that has been lost. Because they weren't taught the truth. Now that you hear the truth, you've been so programmed, your brain been polluted so much that you really, what you gonna do? You're too prideful to change. Therefore, you have to you're gonna get what it says. Superior, all praise the Most High. I mean, I was thinking about it, but I don't know it was gonna turn to that. Jeremiah 23:1. All praise the Most High. In the name of the Lord, it say Jeremiah 23:1. I mean, I thought about it, but I was trying to go somewhere else, but it's just stopped here, so I got to bring it forth. Woe, destruction be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pastors, said the Most High. He's saying destruction to you if you don't come back and teach the truth, the laws of the Most High, and stop dealing with lies, which is against the truth. He said, woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, said the Most High. Therefore thus said the Most High power of Israel against the pastors that feed my people. Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away from the truth. Because you say we're not dealing with the truth. You telling your flock you ain't got to deal with the truth. That's the laws of the Most High. The truth is the laws of the Most High. And driven them away. And I have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing, said the Most High. Better hear what he's saying. Verse 10 says, for the land is full of adulterers, jumping around with every man's woman. For because of swearing, the land mourneth. Pleasant places of the wilderness are dried up, and their course is evil, and their force is not right. For both prophet and priest are profane, unholy. Profane means you unholy. Yeah. In my house have I found their wickedness, said the Most High. He said, wherefore their way shall be unto them as slippery ways in the darkness. Slipping in the darkness. Hey, they're going to be like slippery ways in the darkness. Meaning you ain't going to be able to see. You're going to be ignorant to the fact of the way, the right way. Like my say, I'm the way to show you how to follow the truth, which is the laws of the Most High that going to lead to everlasting life in St. John 14:6. They shall be driven on and fall therein, for I will bring evil upon them. You hear what he's saying? That woe is destruction. He said, I will bring evil upon them, even the year of their visitation, said the Most High. Not only that, he said, and I have seen folly, foolishness in the prophets of Samaria. They prophesied in B-A-A-L, like y'all calling on L-O-R-D. Y'all ain't gonna say B-A-A-L, but they know you would say L-O-R-D. And I showed you how that B-A-A-L, let me show it to you again, just in case you missed it the first time. That B-A-A-L is what they put in there that represents L-O-R-D, okay? They know you ain't gonna say B-A-A-L, but you will say, y'all saying L-O-R-D. I don't say it. I try not to say it as much as possible. Because look what it said. I have seen also in the prophets of Jerusalem, verse 13, and I have seen folly in the prophets of Samaria. That's the northern kingdom. They prophesy in B-A-A-L and cause my people Israel to err. You hear that? That's what y'all doing. Like I say, they knew you wouldn't call on Z-E-U-S, but y'all call on it, his last name, A-M-E-N. Like here, you know, y'all wouldn't call on B-A-A-L, but y'all call on L-O-R-D. They put it in, that's been inserted, y'all. G-O-D, God, y'all calling on that, y'all use that name, you trying to justify what you said to me, this dog spelled backwards. We call them dogs. They took dog and spelled it backwards, and now you calling on them still. Like I showed you, Santa, Claus, Satan, Claus, same thing, you said the same thing, except for you just move the letters over a little bit. They got many ways that they are deceiving the people. He said, I have seen also in the prophets of Jerusalem an horrible thing. They commit adultery and walk in lies. They love to hear lies. They strengthen also the hands of evildoers. They down with the evildoers. No matter what it is, they down with the evildoers. That none does return from his wickedness. Because you know why they're not going to return from the wickedness? Because you're not teaching them what the law says. Thus say the Most High. He is not up in there. That's why it says. This is what it says. They strengthen the hands of evildoers, that none does return from his wickedness. They are all of them unto me as Sodom, and the inhabitants thereof as Gomorrah. That's why when you look at that word dog, I'm going to show you in the New Unger's Bible Dictionary. That word dog. Just so you know, it's not something I'm just making up, because I know y'all try and bring accusations for things that's being said. I want to make sure I look at what the New Unger's Bible Dictionary, we didn't write it. I had nothing to do with it. But I can read. And I looked it up. And look what it says. To your surprise, dog. Here it is. It says dog. It's in the New Unger's Bible Dictionary. In the East, dog is used for impure and profane persons. It was used by the Jews respecting the Gentiles, right? So when I look up Hebrews, go to the book of Hebrews, it said profane persons, right? Hebrews, the 12th chapter, and the 16th verse, it says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. See that? So Esau is profane. So now, in the East, like I said, it was a word that we called, dog was a word that we called the Gentiles. In the East, dog is used for impure and profane, that's unholy persons, and was used by the Jews respecting the Gentiles, right? So it gives scripture, Matthew 15 and 26. This is the New Unger's Bible Dictionary. We didn't write this. I didn't write it. I'm just reading what it says. Matthew 15 and 26. And the same story is in Mark 7, 24 down. Matthew 15 and 26 is what they give. But he answered and said, it is not meet or right to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs. This is a Greek woman. Go to Mark 7:24. So you see who it is. This is the same story in Mark. That's been good. Mark 7:24. This is hate speech. This is just the truth. From the Bible, Mark 7:24. And from thence he arose and went into the borders of Tyre and Zidon, and entered into a house, and would have no man know it, but he could not be hid. For a certain woman whose young daughter had an unclean spirit heard of him and came and fell at his feet. So her daughter had an unclean spirit, and she came and fell at Mashiach Shai's feet, this big black man. Listen, the woman was a Greek. The woman was a so-called white woman. The Greek, like Alexander the Greek. Flower Phoenician by nation. And she besought him that he would cast forth the devil out of her daughter. And Mashiach said to her, let the children first be filled. You see the same thing we read in Matthew 15:26. He said, let the children first be filled, for it is not meet, as we just read, not right, to take the children's bread, the children's blessing, and to cast it unto the dogs. Come on. And she answered and said unto him, yes, master. Yet the dogs under the table eat of the children's crumbs. So she admitted that they were dogs in the scripture. And he said unto her, for this saying, go thy way. The devil is gone out of thy daughter for that saying. For admitting that she was a dog. So So when you look at Psalms 22:16, David prophesied about a Mashiach Shai being on the tree, nailed to the tree, in Psalm 22:16. For dogs have compassed me, the assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. Now we know Job 9:24 says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Right? He's saying, for dogs have compassed me, the assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. David's hands and feet wasn't pierced. That's prophesying about a Mashiach Yahushua. For dogs have compassed me, the assembly of the wicked. So they took dog and spelled it backwards and came up with God, and they said they are God, even though it's still dog, spelled backwards. You see? Let's see, you ain't supposed to figure it out. That's a mystery. You ain't supposed to figure that out. But let's go back to dog in the New Youngest Bible Dictionary. It says, in the East, dog is used for impure and profane persons, meaning unholy persons, and was used by the Jews respecting the Gentiles, and gave the scripture, Mark 15:26, which we just read. It says, those who are shut out of the kingdom of heaven are also called dogs, Revelation 22:15, on account of their vileness, probably a reference to homosexuality. Woo! Probably a reference to homosexuality. How was that? But it's there. That's what they say. And we see that rampant right now in this world. That's why Mashiach Shai said, Isaiah, the 1st chapter, the 9th verse. So you get understanding through these precepts. He said, except the most high power of hosts, power of armies of angels, had left unto us a very small remnant. You hear that? A very small remnant. We should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. See that? So it's a very small remnant that's not going to go for that. It's not going to happen. So these are the things that are written that are kind of sheltered from the world, because people want to manifest the Most High in the way they want him to be manifested. He's point blank clear. It's point blank clear. You know, I did a whole lesson on dogs. Dog, whoo. Dogs, point blank. You can look it up, dogs, in the Bible. But see, we as a people have, look at Ezekiel 16. All the things that we have done. When you read this Bible, man, I don't know how you can think that we even worthy, man, to even step before the Most High, even pray to him, and just think that he's supposed to just be attentive to our prayer for all the things we have done and disrespecting him. It's cold, man. Look at Ezekiel, the 16th chapter. Let's start at verse 4. And as for thy nativity, in the day that thou was born, O Israel, thy navel was not cut. See, he hadn't even cut the cord from us. Neither was thou washed in water to supply thee. Thou was not salted at all, nor swallowed at all. No flavor. None pitied thee. None I pitied thee to do any of these unto thee. to have compassion upon thee. But thou was cast out in the open field to the loathing of thy person in the day that thou was born, from the time we were born, just cast out. And when I passed by thee, when the Most High said, when he passed by us and saw thee polluted, he seen us polluted in our blood, in thy own blood. I said unto thee, when thou was in thy blood, live. Yeah, I said unto thee, when thou was in thy blood, live. And I caused thee to multiply as the bud of the field, and thou hast increased and waxen great, and thou art come to excellent ornaments. Thy breasts are fashioned, and thy hair is grown, whereas thou was naked and bare. Remember, he made the women have baldness, took away all the clothes, naked, going into captivity. Now when I passed by thee, the Most High said, and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love. He said, when he passed by and looked upon us, naked and in blood, nobody gave a dang about us. He said, behold, thy time was the time of love. This love is coming from the Most High. He said, and I spread my skirt over thee and covered thy nakedness. Yeah, I swear unto thee and entered into a covenant with thee, said the Most High Power, and thou became mine. Listen, who he make that covenant with? Because y'all gonna read that and try and put everybody else in it. The covenant was made specifically to a people, the Most High's people. And it says in Psalms 105, and they, excuse me. I remember his covenant, which is a contract or agreement forever. The word, which commanded to 1,000 generations, which covenant he made with Abraham, and his oath unto Isaac, and confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant. So we, the 12 tribes of Israel, for an everlasting contract, point blank. So this covenant, when you see covenant, it's not talking about nobody but the 12 tribes of Israel. So going back to Ezekiel 16. Let's read verse 18 again. No, verse 8 again. Now when I passed by thee and looked upon thee, this verse 8 of Ezekiel 16th chapter, behold, thy time was the time of love. See, he passed by us, he said, our time was the time of love. He said, and I spread my skirt over thee and covered thy nakedness. Yeah, I swear unto thee and entered into a covenant with thee, said the Most High Power. The covenant was with Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, to the 12 tribes of Israel. And thou became mine. He said, then washed I thee with water. Yeah, I thoroughly washed away thy blood from thee, and I anointed thee with oil. He said, I clothed thee also with broidered work, and shod thee with badger skin. He decked us out, y'all. And I girded thee about with fine linen, and I covered thee with silk. I decked thee also with ornaments, and I put bracelets upon thy hands, and a chain on thy neck, and I put a jewel on thy forehead. Say, put a jewel on our forehead, and earrings in thine ears. So, brothers, we had earrings. Sisters, we had earrings, and earrings in thine ears. Who did this? The Most High. And a beautiful crown upon thine head. We had a beautiful crown on our head. Thus was thou decked with gold and silver. Hear that? Decked out with the best gold and silver. You just told us the best gold was the gold of Ophir. And thy raiment was of fine linen and silk and broidered work. I mean, designs on our clothes and so forth. Thou didst eat fine flour and honey and oil, and thou wast exceeding beautiful, and thou didst prosper into a kingdom. And thy renown went forth among the heathen for thy beauty, for it was perfect through my comeliness, which I had put upon thee, said the Most High Power. But thou didst trust in thine own beauty, got prideful, and played the harlot before of thy renown, and poured out thy fornications on every one that passed by. His it was. Hear that? You said you played the harlot, and everybody that passed by, you can have it. You can have me. Whatever they came with. Their religions, their beliefs, just like it is today. And of thy garments that he decked us out with, looking at us like, man, look at my beautiful people. Of our garments that he decked us out with, and of thy garments thou didst take, and deck thy high places with diverse colors, and play at the harlot thereupon. The like things shall not come, neither shall it be so. Thou hast also taken thy fair jewels of my gold and of my silver, which I had given thee, and made it to thyself images of men, and didst commit whoredom with them. Dang. See all the things he done for us? It's hurtful when you think about it. It's like, man, when you really love the Most High, it's like, man, look how we did them. Took at thy broidered garments. I mean, look, it's probably nothing that we have now. Coming from the Most High, broidering something on our garments to be seen, to stand out from anybody, all the nations, had nothing like this. Broidered garments that the Most High said, this is how you're going to broider, do this and do that, do that. Can you imagine that? Just looking at the colors of fish and trees and how he did everything in creation, man. He broidered in something for us. Like he said, he decked us out. And took at thy broidered garments and covered them. Dang. And thou hast set mine oil and mine incense before them, before these idols, man. Dang. My meat also which I gave thee, fine flour and oil, like you do a roast, and honey, wherewith I fed thee, thou hast even set it before them. Set it before these idols. I mean, how disrespectful can you be, man? This is not a time when we didn't know that we were Israelites and we ain't passed down the fact of what the Most High done from generation to generation to generation. I mean, you go to Psalm 78, David talking about it. We was in Nehemiah. Nehemiah's talking about it. All the prophets talking about it before we get to Ezekiel. And here we are doing this, man. We set all this before them for a sweet savor, and that it was, said the Most High Power. Moreover, thou hast taken thy sons and thy daughters, whom thou hast borne unto me, and these hast thou sacrificed unto them to be devoured. Is this of thy whoredoms a small matter? Took our sons and daughters and sacrificed before these idols that we made. And here we are thinking that we all that today. Because we didn't come back in the world and don't even know your past. So I say, you want to know something? Call on your ancestors. We call on Ezekiel right now. That's telling us about our wicked butts, man. It's terrible. Sacrifice our sons and daughters. Even David cried about it, man. Dang, man, it's cold. It's cold to read about. When I think about it, man, you know how most I say, all you need is me, and we did everything except for you need him, man. We could care less, man. It seemed like Psalms 106 and 35 says, but were mingled among the heathen, Psalms 106 and 35, and learned their works. When the Most High told us in Jeremiah 10 and 2, learn not the way of the heathen, but we're mingled among them just like it is today and learn their works. You look at the religious instruction to the Negroes in the United States of America from 1620 to now. I read a lot of it on my YouTube page. The religious instruction to the Negroes in the United States of America. But were mingled among the heathen, even going into captivity, and learned their works. And they served their idols, which was a snare unto them, we the Israelites. Yeah, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils. This is what we just read about. Sacrificing our sons and daughters unto devils, and shed innocent blood, even the blood of their sons and of their daughters, whom they sacrificed unto the idols of Canaan. And the land was polluted with blood. Thus were they defiled with their own works and went a-whoring with their own inventions. Therefore was the wrath of the Most High kindled against his people, the 12 tribes of Israel, insomuch that he abhorred, he hated his own inheritance. And he gave them into the hand of the heathen. Since you want to follow the heathen, you want to learn the way of the heathen, he gave us to the hand of the heathen. And they that hated them, so the heathen hate us, they hated us, ruled over them. Their enemies also oppressed them, and they were brought into subjection under their hand. Point blank. Same thing over and over and over again, y'all. Same thing, same thing. Going back to Ezekiel 16. Verse 26. Thou hast also committed fornication with the Egyptians, thy neighbors, great of flesh, and hast increased thy whoredoms to provoke me to anger. Dang. Behold, therefore, I have stretched out mine hand over thee, and have diminished thine ordinary food, and delivered thee unto the will of them that hate thee, the daughters of the Philistines, which are ashamed of thy lewd way. Hear that? Gave us over to the Philistines. Thou hast played the whore also with the Assyrians, because thou wast saturated. Yeah, thou hast played the harlot with them, and yet could not be satisfied. That's why I say you've been passed around to all these nations. Had our women. And we as men were in captivity under them also. How weak is thine heart? How weak is your mind, man? How weak is thine heart, said the Most High, seeing thou doest all these things, the work of an imperious, whorish woman. Dang. Imperious, whorish woman, it says. Man. Bunch of degenerates, man. Playing the role of a harlot. In that thou buildest thine eminent place in the head of every way, and maketh thine high place in every street, and hast not been as an harlot. Hear that? A whorish woman is not a harlot, in that thou scornest hire. Don't even want to get paid for land with these heathens. Hear that? Thou scornest hire. At least a harlot get paid. Prostitute get paid. But we scorn to hire, because there's a difference between a whore and a harlot. You understand? That's why I say a whorish woman, meaning you just giving it up. Imperious, whorish woman. You giving it up like a harlot, but you ain't getting paid. You scorn of getting paid, higher. Scorn of getting higher. Getting paid, man. But as a wife that committed adultery, A wife that lay with another man when she's married, which taketh strangers instead of her husband. Dang, strangers, that means more than one man. Instead of her husband, they give gifts to all whores. But thou givest thy gifts to all thy lovers, and hireth them, that they may come unto thee on every side for thy whoredoms. Man. And the contrary is in thee from other women in thy whoredoms, whereas none followeth thee to commit whoredoms. And in that thou givest a reward, and no reward is given unto thee. Therefore thou art contrary. Wherefore, O harlot, hear the word of the Most High. Thus said the Most High Power, because thy filthiness was poured out, and thy nakedness discovered through thy whoredoms with thy lovers, laying with this man and that man, like he said. What he said in verse 32. But as a wife that committeth adultery, a woman that's married, and she go out and lay with another man, or which taketh strangers or lay with a lot of men, different men, instead of her husband, he's screaming at her. This is happening today. Verse 36. Verse 35. Wherefore, O harlot, hear the word of the Most High. Thus said the Most High Power, because thy filthiness was poured out, and thy nakedness discovered through thy whoredoms with thy lovers. I seen you naked, Most High said, with your lovers, laying with this man and that man, you bunch of harlots, bunch of prostitutes, what he's saying. And some of your whores ain't getting paid nothing, just giving it up. Also, and thy nakedness discovered through thy whoredoms with thy lovers. He's seeing you mess around with this man and that man and this man and that man, and with all the idols of thy abominations. Got all this idolatry going on because you ain't following the Most High no more. And men that's jumping around with all these women. Y'all a bunch of whores too. With all the idols of thy abominations, and by the blood of thy children, which thou didst give unto them. Dang. Man, we're cold-blooded people, man. Take your children and sacrifice them. Behold, therefore I will gather all thy lovers with whom thou hast taken pleasure, and all them that thou hast loved, with all them that thou hast hated. I will even gather them round about against thee. So I'm going to make them turn against you, and will discover thy nakedness unto them, that they may see all thy nakedness. Woo. And I will judge thee as women that break wedlock and shed blood are judged. And I will give thee blood and fury and jealousy. And I will also give thee into their hand, and they shall throw down thine eminent place, and shall break down thy high places. They shall strip thee also of thy clothes, and shall take thy fair jewels, and leave thee naked and bare. Gonna leave you butt naked. They shall also bring up a company against thee, and they shall stone thee with stones. Not only that, say, I'm going to kill you. They're going to stone you with stones and thrust thee through with their swords. And they shall burn thine houses with fire and execute judgments upon thee in the sight of many women. And I will cause thee to cease from playing the harlot. And thou shalt also give no hire anymore. You ain't going to go around and sell yourself no more. That's a harlot. So will I make my fury toward thee to rest. But you'll still stone them. And my jealousy shall depart from thee, and I will be quiet. I will be no more angry, because thou has not remembered the days of thy youth, but has fretted me in all these things. Behold, therefore I, that's the Most High, also will recompense thy way upon thine head, said the Most High Power. And thou shalt not commit this lewdness above all thine abominations. It's cold, man. We was cold. Still cold. Still doing these things. Thinking it's all right. It's not all right, y'all. It's not all right. And look at 2 Kings 14. 2 Kings 14. Man, these stories, man, it hit home, boy. It'd be like, wow, man. Look at let's look at 2 Kings 14 and 26. Start there. It says, for the Most High saw the affliction of Israel, that it was very bitter. He saw our affliction, he said it was very bitter. But there was not any shut up, nor any left, nor any helper for Israel. Nobody wanted to help us. And the Most High said not that he would blot out the name of Israel from under heaven. But he saved them by the hand of Jeroboam, the son of Joash. He saved us. He said he would not blot out the name of Israel. That's why when you read Romans 11 and 1, Paul is saying, Romans 11 and 1, I say then, has the Most High cast away his people? The Most High forbid. For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. The Most High has not cast away his people which he foreknew. Because we still here. Coming back to the light of the Most High. Learning his law, statute, commandments. Learning them, living them, and applying them in our life so that the Most High can continue to have mercy and grace upon those that are his. Go back to 2 Kings. 2 Kings, the 13th chapter. I'm just about finished. I think the Sabbath is over. 2 Kings, the 13th chapter. And Second Kings 13 and look at verse 22. But Hazael, king of Syria, oppressed Israel all the days of Jehoahaz, and the Most High was gracious unto them, and had compassion on them, and had respect unto them because of his covenant, his contract, his agreement with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You see, that's his name forever and memorial to all generations in Exodus 3:15 and 16. And would not destroy them, neither cast he them from his presence as yet. So Hazael, king of Syria, died, and Ben-Hadad, his son, reigned in his stead. And Jehoash, the son of Jehoahaz, took again out of the hand of Ben-Hadad, the son of Hazael, the cities, which he had taken out of the hand of Jehoahaz, his father, by war. 3 times did Jehoahaz beat him and recovered the cities of Israel. Hallelujah. So, when you look at how all the things we've done, the Most High still had compassion, being long-suffering, and mercy and grace upon we the Israelites, while in the end, he told us in Isaiah 14:1, we've been looking at the Most High all day long. And how it fits in with us, excuse me. Isaiah 14:1. The Most High, who we've been talking about all day long, will have mercy, which is not getting something you do deserve, Israel, on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them, the Israelites, in their own land. And the strangers, these other nations, shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. These other nations are going to be cleaving to the house of Jacob. And the people, the Israelites, shall take them, these other strangers, these other nations, a remnant of them, and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them, these other nations, in the land of the Most High for servants and handmaids, men slaves and women slaves, in a righteous kingdom. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass, once this is happening in the kingdom, when he's taken all these nations, put them where they're going to be at to work in the righteous kingdom, under the Most High, and the 12 tribes of Israel. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Most High shall give thee rest. So we're going to have rest, y'all. From thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. That's where we're going to have that rest. In that time. So I'm going to end right there. Sounds like a great place to end, since we're going to have rest and we're going to not be sorrowful anymore, and just work toward getting there. That's what this is all about. Work toward getting there. You're not going to get there if you're not going to keep the Most High's laws. You ain't going to do what he say do, his rules and regulations. Very important. So with that, I'll say, Krum Most High, Krum Mashiach Yahushua, and Krum Yasharala, and I'm out. Shalom.